Welcome, my fellow children of God. How's prayer going? Are you still not having sex? Okay, fine, you got me. I am not a man of God. So today, we'll be making sushi and tackling religion. Wait, that doesn't sound right. Oh yeah, that doesn't really make sense, does it? One second. Perfect. If you're a godly man or woman like myself,
I am not a man of God.
Then you know how hard it is to watch YouTube, right? You wake up in the morning, check your phone, open YouTube, see what's up on the homepage. Next thing you know, you're watching a Jake Paul video, and all of a sudden you've got to go to confession, only to be told that there's simply no number of Hail Marys you can do to be forgiven for watching a Jake Paul video. But don't worry, there's nothing to fear. Except God, you have to fear her. But there is another place where you can get that God-friendly content that you so crave. Now, the website in question is truly a gift from the big guy upstairs. It's really the girl-defined wet dream that they would deny having. It's godtube.com. That's a real website that exists. I'm not making this up, I swear. First, a bit of a disclaimer before I go further. If you didn't pick up on this in the intro, I mean, it was pretty nuanced.
I am not a man of God.
But it is true. I am not a religious person by any definition of the word. And I know that faith means something different to everyone, right? To some people, it means going to church 6 times a week and praying 30 times a day. And to other people, it means putting a Bible quote in their Instagram bio and calling it a day. And to me, it doesn't really mean anything. And these are all valid interpretations, right? That's the point. They're interpretations. All that to say that I'm not trying to just attack religion or religious people. I have my opinions and you have yours, and some of my opinions might slip into this video. I mean, I know they will, I've already written it, but I'm trying to keep it lighthearted, and at the end of the day, where you put your faith is up to you, and no one can take that away from you, not even me. So we're just having fun here, right? Okay, cool. Back to our regularly scheduled program. You have to change the channel. I can't, I'm in the TV, I can't do it for you. I stumbled upon GodTube probably not in the way that the Lord intended. I was downloading a YouTube video on one of those sketchy YouTube conversion sites that's always riddled with porn ads, which I've never clicked on, and you can't prove that I have, I hope. But right there, nestled between an ad for a game that you won't last 5 minutes playing and an Asian singles in your area alert, was an ad for GodTube. So naturally, given its company, I thought it was like a religious porn site, which I mean is a hilarious concept. I don't even know what that would look like. Would it be porn versions of popular Bible stories? Because if that's the case, there would definitely be one for Noah's Ark, right? There was for sure some nasty shit that went down on that boat. I mean, come on. It's Noah, his multiple wives, his sons, and their wives, and 2 of every animal. Like, this was a multi-species polyamorous sex cruise. Not to mention that no matter how you do your Punnett squares, the resulting generation is all gonna be fucking their cousins, and possibly even their siblings. And if you don't know anything about the current porn landscape, there's a market for that being incest. So we've already got a sequel. Honestly, I think that unlike the future offspring in this family tree, this idea's really got legs. Sorry, I know that this is already total blasphemy, which, you know, blasphemy sounds similar to something that one of Noah's wives probably said to him. Blasting me. Okay, I'm done. I swear, I'm done. On God. So as you can tell, curiosity got the best of me. So I clicked on this ad, and what I found was weird, but frankly, disappointing. GodTube is one of a few religious YouTube knockoffs, including Islamic Tube and JewTube, which kind of sounds like the punchline to a Holocaust joke that your uncle with no filter would make at a barbecue. And by your uncle, I mean my uncle. Just to get a couple of the less interesting aspects about GodTube out of the way, understandably, a section of it is just a collection of Bible materials, which, you know, you saw how I interpreted the book of Genesis as an incestual orgy a minute ago, so you probably don't want me to read more either. There's also an inspirational images page, which is essentially just the Christian version of Instagram entrepreneurs who put dumb quotes on top of pictures of Lamborghinis, but here it's just Bible quotes on top of pictures of lakes. But what GodTube really is a strictly filtered Christian video platform that houses only the most wholesome content, or as I like to call it, FMC, Facebook Mom content. It's content that is so bland and so safe that it's tailor-made to be shared by Karens everywhere. Like take this video, for example. The hilarious truth about parenting from two musical moms.
This one's for you. We run this. Let's go. Straight out of Walmart. I'm a mama with an attitude, stirring up the sweet tea with the ice cube.
Hello, music industry? I'd like to report a murder.
Thanks for calling Xbox support. If you want to speak with someone...
It's funny because this video popped up for me on like the front comedy page of GodTube, and I'm just now seeing that it's 6 years old. In fact, the third video on the most recent tab is also 6 years old. Here's the top video on the comedy page, quirky little sketch.
My prayer for this year is for a thin body and a fat bank account. Please, dear God, don't mix them up like you did last year.
Get it? Because she got fat, but she wanted to get rich. And yeah, you got that right. It was posted 7 years ago. Top video on the comedy page, 7 years old. Everything that is somewhat recent on here are just like song parodies about quarantine. Like this one, for example, where the biggest hurdle this mom has to get over is that she misses shopping at Target. And that's it.
Every picture frame, every mouth guard game, she's missing you.
Ah, privilege. So sweet. But you see what I mean, right? Like this probably did numbers on her Facebook page. And you know, they're obviously just having fun making these music videos as a family. And that's great. Obviously I'm poking fun at this, but you can get your entertainment wherever you want. And if you choose to get it from a very specific website that's about 10 years behind the rest of the internet, that's fine. I mean, just wait until Gangnam Style or the Harlem Shake drops on there. I mean, the church is gonna lose their shit. I don't think there's anything wrong with the content on GodTube. I just don't really understand why it exists. I mean, take this clip of Bear Grylls, for example, which was uploaded just a week ago. On YouTube, this clip has over 200,000 views. On GodTube, it has 300. Like, what's the point? I just went back to the popular section and found an 8-year-old ad for veterinary insurance. Who is using this website? There's a news section on GodTube, which, first of all, I would say probably don't get your news from a heavily filtered religious website. But in this case, all of the articles on here have titles like Top 10 Christian Songs, Top 5 Songs About Prayer, Top 8 Hymns to Help Suppress Your Homosexuality. Okay, fine, I made that last one up. But this isn't news. This is just the least interesting BuzzFeed clickbait of all time. On the homepage, they also have this top artists list, which, you know, top of what? The website, all of music. But I've been working on this video for a bit now, and I've been visiting the site on and off, and it seems like they just cycle through the same 6 people because Reba McEntire, the Oak Ridge Boys, and Casting Crowns are always somewhere on the list. So I guess they just consistently put out absolute bangers. The only reason as to why I think GodTube even exists is that it must just cost nothing to run. I mean, technically they do host video, but pretty much every video I clicked on here were just embedded YouTube and Vimeo videos. And if you do want to upload a video, it has to be less than 500 megabytes at 480p. God created the universe or whatever, but we draw the line at HD. Who do you think we are, fucking Susan Wojcicki? Because of their strict upload parameters, I don't imagine that they're paying a ton for hosting storage. On top of that, GodTube belongs to a Christian marketing company called the Salem Web Network, which is under, of course, the Salem Media umbrella, which is a Christian-based media conglomerate. Think Succession, but exactly the opposite. The Salem Web Network hosts websites that you're all familiar with, like Godvine.com and Christianity.com, the oldest website. Or my personal favorite, GodUpdates.com, which I can't get over that name because, like, hasn't nothing happened for thousands of years? Like, what is there to update? Is there just a dude who gets up every morning and is just like, Day 700,000. Good news and bad news. The bad news is that no one in this book has come back to life yet. I'm honestly starting to question the whole thing. But the good news is that no one seems to have caught on yet, so we still don't have to pay taxes. I guess God really does work in mysterious ways. I mean, as much as I would love God Updates to be just that, all of these websites under the Salem Network are pretty much exactly the same. They all house a bunch of shitty, wholesome clickbait articles on a cheaply designed homepage that's riddled with ads, which is great because for an organization rooted in religion to have a slew of poorly put together business fronts that are just blatant cash grabs is perhaps telling of broader themes within religion. But I digress, and also, I do know what that word means, so. Another website under the Salem Media umbrella is ibelieve.com, which again is mostly just a collection of lists of things, but it's also kind of a blog. So let's take a look at one of these articles. Ooh, 10 lies Satan tells you about your marriage. Okay, the first one is boring. It's just about how not everything on social media is as perfect as it looks. The second one is just how it's not cool to flirt with other people besides your spouse. So far, I agree with these. I mean, I don't think they need religious justification. Feel like they would be common sense, but the third one is where the article really starts to lose me. The third lie Satan tells you is that marriage should make you happy, which I guess I didn't even realize there was another take on that. But apparently being happy in a marriage isn't the ultimate goal because marriage is a tool to make us more like Christ. I don't know what that means, but it probably means something to someone. When you believe the lie that it is, you may start putting unrealistic pressure on your spouse that will damage your relationship. Wait, so the desire to be happy is unrealistic? That doesn't sound right. Number 4, the grass is greener somewhere else. One of the enemy's most frequent lies is that you'd be better off with a different spouse. The grass may look greener somewhere else, but perhaps that's because that couple is watering their field. The grass is never actually greener. It's an illusion. Don't fall for the shimmering mirage. Water your grass by pouring into your spouse and drawing closer to the Lord through His word and prayer. The grass is never actually greener. It's an illusion. This could be kind of a dangerous message, like if you're in an abusive relationship, the grass is most certainly greener somewhere else. Get out of it. Don't try to water your grass. Light your lawn on fire. The 5th lie Satan tells you is that you should trust your feelings. Okay, what, we can't use our instincts now? What? I'm an emotional person, and I'm constantly having to remind myself that while my feelings can be an indication that something isn't right, they're not necessarily accurate and cannot be trusted as truth. We might feel like our spouse will never change. We might feel like things are hopeless in our marriage. We might feel like we don't want to try anymore. But those feelings aren't truth. No, I would definitely reconsider your relationship if it checks any of these boxes. What is this? Our God is a redeeming, restoring, relational God who cares deeply about His children and their marriages. Oh, yeah. That's why half of all marriages end in divorce. It's because God cares deeply about them. Number 6, your spouse will never change, which is just about overlooking your spouse's shortcomings. But the Bible quote she uses as evidence is, "Wives, submit to your husbands, as is fitting in the Lord. Husbands, love your wives, and do not be harsh with them." Submit to your husbands? I don't like that at all. Those commands are to both parties in the marriage relationship. Focus on your part and let the Holy Spirit convict your spouse of His. Okay, so that's what I thought. This article is definitely targeted at women and feels like it's essentially trying to put them in their place. Yeah, I don't really like this at all. I'm not exactly an expert in Christianity, but this is way darker than I thought it was going to be. Like, I was expecting like some zany stuff, right? Like, oh, a lie Satan tells you is that your husband will put the toilet seat down, right? Like stuff like that. But this just made me sad. To me, this comes across as whoever's writing this is trying to justify why they haven't left their unhappy relationship or something. I don't know. I just don't like it. All I'm saying is, ladies, don't let the threat of eternal damnation keep you from being happy. Besides learning the lies that Satan spreads about marriage, I also just glanced at one of these other articles, 10 bad habits Christian women need to break. And one of them is boycotting the bad instead of supporting the good. And the author says this: before complaining to Starbucks about not spelling out Christmas on their coffee cups, or to Target stores for allowing transgender people to use the restroom of their choice, or to Disney for having an exclusively gay moment in their recent reboot, try letting those secular companies know what they're doing right, instead of pointing out what they're doing wrong. That is the most backhanded, can I speak to your manager shit I've ever heard. I can imagine her writing this out and thinking she's so clever for sneaking these homophobic and transphobic jabs in there. Can you imagine caring about these things? The whole concern that these insecure right-wing morons have with transgender people using the bathroom of their choice is so unbelievably dumb. Like, when I'm in a public bathroom, I am minding my own business and only focused on what I'm doing. If a transgender person were to walk in the bathroom, also minding their own business, I wouldn't even notice. Like, who gives a shit? Also, the fucking Starbucks thing, really? Oh my God, this cardboard cup I'm gonna throw away in 20 minutes doesn't have the word Christmas on it? Did Jesus die on the cross for nothing? I mean, seriously, we've celebrated this dude's birthday every year forever. Does it really matter if this coffee cup doesn't specifically wish him a happy birthday when he's been dead for 2 millennia? I mean, come on. All right, moving on from ibelieve.com because I don't. I kind of jabbed at this a minute ago, but one of my first assumptions was that the Salem Media Group must be exempt from taxes, just like the churches, for some reason. I don't really know how they've continued to scam their way into that one. I mean, not to go on yet another tangent, but let me put it this way. What is a church really? A place where people are brought together over a common interest to celebrate a collection of stories, which is great if you're into that. But let's compare that to something totally random, like Disneyland, a place where people are brought together over a common interest to celebrate a collection of stories. So if Disneyland has to pay taxes, why doesn't God's book club? Because really the only difference is that one has significantly fewer roller coasters and is much harder to buy a churro at. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Although the church might not, I'm pretty sure that the Salem Media Group does pay taxes, or at the very least, they should. I did a little bit of research and found that the Media Group is a publicly traded company who employs thousands of people and whose CEO has made millions of dollars. And the tax exemption that allows churches to operate tax-free basically labels them as a charity that has no income, even though these people still exist somehow. But I don't think that you can claim that embedding YouTube videos and making top 10 lists is charitable, even if it's all Christian adjacent. That's like me putting a cross in my living room and then claiming I don't have to pay rent because it's a holy site. Wait, can I do that? I mean, I'm not Christian, but I sure could be for the right price. So what's the point of all this? Why am I making sushi and yelling at you about God and churros? Because I'm bored. And that's the takeaway from... No, that doesn't make any sense. I guess in conclusion, I don't think any of this is harmful. I mean, those 2 articles I found were a little suspect, but also I'm pretty sure that I'm the only person that's ever clicked on them. So I don't think they're reaching America's youth by any means. Again, I just thought this whole thing was funny. I don't understand why GodTube and all these other niche yet generic websites exist. Also, I know that this video ended up being very opinionated. I made a lot of jokes about certain aspects of religion that I don't think make sense, but again, to each their own. That's it. I don't have like a well thought out, profound closing statement, but what I do have is sushi. Good night.